I know what it's like when you stop for a moment and look at the horizon as the sun goes down. That moment when the colors spread across the sky and something inside you seems to want to expand too. You feel a mixture of peace and unease, as if there were an important message being conveyed, but the words are beyond your reach. This feeling is no coincidence. It's a silent call that many of us realize but rarely stop to really listen to. Have you ever noticed how different we look during a sunset? Even the busiest people sometimes stop, take a photo, share it on social media. It's as if we have a silent agreement that some things deserve our full attention. But then the moment passes, we put the mobile phone away and go back to our worries, quickly forgetting what we felt. The restlessness inside us resurfaces, as if that momentary peace had never existed. That feeling of emptiness that arises when you're surrounded by everything that should bring you satisfaction, and yet something seems to be missing. You look at your achievements, your comfort, the people around you, and yet there is a persistent restlessness. It's like a thirst that won't go away no matter how much you drink. Perhaps you've already realized that this thirst isn't for more things, but for a different kind of nourishment. In the midst of the frenetic routine, our hearts keep searching for something we often can't name. We send messages, check notifications, fill every minute with activity, as if silence were an enemy to be avoided. But it is precisely in this constant noise that we lose the ability to hear what really matters. External voices get so loud that we can no longer distinguish our own inner voice, let alone the whispers of the natural world around us. I watch people hurrying down the street, their eyes stuck on their mobile phone screens, while above them the sky puts on a unique show that will never be repeated exactly the same. They are connected to the whole world through their devices, but disconnected from the present moment, from where their feet touch the ground. The irony is that we are constantly seeking connection, but we have lost the most fundamental one of all, the connection with the living world that sustains us. Have you ever felt that pang of sadness that comes over you for no apparent reason, in the middle of perfectly normal days? It's as if something inside you knows that there's more to life than what you're experiencing. Your restless heart is trying to tell you something important. It's pointing you in a direction that your busy eyes can't see. This restlessness is not your enemy, although we often try to silence it with distractions. The colors of the sunset are a daily reminder that the most extraordinary beauty comes in moments of transition. The day doesn't simply end. It turns into night through a spectacular display of colors that seem impossible. Your restless heart may also be in a period of transition, whispering that something new is about to be born in you. The unanswered questions that arise as you watch the horizon are not signs that something is wrong, but invitations to a deeper journey. As children, we looked at the sky with natural wonder. We didn't need instructions to marvel at a butterfly, an animal-shaped cloud, or a rainbow after the rain. The ability to connect with these moments hasn't disappeared. It's just been buried by layers of responsibilities, worries, and the illusion that we don't have time for simple things. But it's exactly these simple things that nourish our spirit in ways that the digital world never can. There are days when you look out of the window and feel that the world outside is trying to tell you something just for you. A certain quality of light, a breeze that touches your face in a particular way, a bird that lands just as you look out. These are not random coincidences, but moments of alignment when the barrier between you and the natural world becomes thinner. In those moments, you realize that you were never really separate from nature. Separation was just an illusion created by modern life. The truth is that your body knows what your busy mind has forgotten. You are part of nature, not just an observer of it. Your cells follow the same rhythms as the tides, the seasons, sunrise and sunset. When you feel disconnected from these rhythms, your body protests with tiredness, anxiety, or that restlessness that seems to have no definite cause. Your heart is simply remembering what the mind has forgotten. You belong to something bigger than your daily to-do lists. The ancients knew something that we are slowly relearning, that nature is not merely a backdrop to our lives, but a living, communicative presence. They observed the patterns of the stars, the cycles of plants, the behavior of animals, and found in them guidance for their own lives. It wasn't superstition, but a form of wisdom that came from deep observation and respect for the natural world. In a way, they could hear what the sunset was whispering to their hearts. What you feel when you stop for a few minutes to watch the sun go down is not just a reaction to something beautiful. It's a deep recognition, almost like a reunion with a forgotten part of yourself. It's your whole being recognizing a truth that words cannot fully express, that you are both the observer and part of the beauty you observe. That's why your heart is restless, because you know there's an invitation being made, a call to reconnect with something we never really lose, we just forget to pay attention to it. Imagine the sunset as an old friend trying to tell you something important. It doesn't speak with words, but with colors, with the way the light touches the clouds, with the rhythm with which it disappears over the horizon. Its message changes every day just as your needs and questions change. The problem isn't that nature has stopped communicating with us. It's that we've stopped listening, convinced that there's nothing important to be said by something that can't speak our language. We live in an age of instant responses. One click and we have information, entertainment, conversations. But the restlessness in our hearts can't be resolved as quickly as an internet search. It operates on a different timescale, more like the timescale of nature. Slow, cyclical, patient. The sunset is in no hurry. It unfolds at its own pace, indifferent to our tight schedules and urgent commitments. And perhaps that's exactly what it's trying to teach us, that some things can't be rushed. When do you feel most alive? During an online meeting or watching a storm approach on the horizon? When is your mind clearest? After hours on social media or after a quiet walk among the trees? There is a wisdom in the body that recognizes what really nourishes us, even when our rational mind tries to argue that we don't have time for those things. Your restless heart knows what it needs, even when you try to convince it otherwise. It's like that plant you might have at home, slowly turning towards the window, seeking sunlight even when you place it in the most convenient corner for its decoration. There is a natural intelligence in all living beings that knows what to look for in order to survive and flourish. In you, this intelligence manifests itself as restlessness when something essential is missing. It's not weakness or ingratitude for everything you've already achieved. It's deep wisdom reminding you of what really matters. The river doesn't worry about how to appear deeper or faster. It simply flows, adapting to the terrain, finding its natural path between the stones. When blocked, it doesn't despair. It just looks for another way or, with patience, transforms the obstacle. Your restless heart also possesses this fluid wisdom. It's not asking you to abandon your responsibilities, but to find your natural flow between them, to remove the blockages that prevent your energy from moving freely. Consider the seasons. Winter is no less important than summer. Leaf fall is no less significant than spring flowering. Each phase has its purpose, its particular beauty, its unique lessons. Perhaps the restlessness you feel is not a sign that something is wrong, but that you are entering a new season of life, and your heart knows this even before your mind can comprehend it. The sunset is whispering, accept the transition. Allow yourself to change. Have you ever noticed how small we feel in front of a vast horizon? It's not an unpleasant sensation, on the contrary. There's a paradoxical relief in realizing how small we are in the face of the immensity of the world. Suddenly, the problems that seem enormous when we're immersed in them are redimensioned. Sunsets offer this perspective every day, a silent reminder that we are part of something much bigger than our immediate concerns, and there's a strange comfort in that. The water of a lake can only reflect the sky when it is calm. When stirred by winds or disturbed by stones, the image fragments, becomes unrecognizable. In the same way, your mind needs moments of stillness to reflect the deepest truths that your heart already knows. Restlessness is perhaps just the natural desire for that clarity, for that perfect mirroring that only happens when you allow the surface of your thoughts to calm down. That nostalgia we sometimes feel during a sunset isn't necessarily about the past. It can be a kind of memory of the future, a recognition of possibilities not yet realized. As if a part of you already knew what could be, if only you followed what your heart was whispering. This feeling of lack, of incompleteness, is a map in disguise, an invitation to a journey that your deepest self is eager to begin. They say that you can't enter the same river twice, because both the river and the person will be different the second time round. The same goes for a sunset. Everyone is unique, as is every moment of their life. Restlessness arises when we try to hold on to something that has already passed, or when we wait anxiously for something that hasn't arrived yet. Sunsets teach the art of being present, of appreciating what is happening now, knowing that it will never be repeated in exactly this way again. Animals don't need to be reminded to look at the sky. to notice the changing seasons, to move when their bodies ask for movement. They live in constant dialogue with the world around them, responding instinctively to nature's signals. We, with our complex consciousness, have gained a lot, but we have also lost this instinctive connection. Your restless heart may just be that older, wiser part of you, asking to be heard again, to be included in decisions about how you live your life. Think of the sunset as a pause between acts. It's not the end of the show, just the transition to something different. In nature, there are no definitive endings, only transformations. Light turns into darkness, which eventually gives way to light again. Perhaps your restlessness is just the recognition that something in you is ready for this transformation, to move from one act to the next in your own story. And like any good break, this is a time to reflect on what has already happened and anticipate what is to come. There is a rhythm in nature that we have lost by living surrounded by artificial lights, alarms, and schedules. Your body still remembers this rhythm, still responds to natural sunlight, the arrival of night, and the phases of the moon. When we ignore these cycles for too long, a part of us begins to protest. That feeling that something is wrong, even when everything seems right on the surface, may be your deepest self asking to return to that natural rhythm that we have lost. The anxiety we feel is often not because of something we've done wrong, but because of what we've failed to do. Those walks we didn't take, those moments of contemplation we put off, those encounters with the starry sky that never happened because we were too busy looking at screens. Your restless heart isn't blaming you for this. It's just gently reminding you that these moments are as necessary as air and water for your complete well-being. It's funny how the same sunset that we barely notice on an ordinary day can completely stop us in a moment of vulnerability. When we're sad, tired, or in transition, suddenly those colors take on meaning. They seem to speak directly to our condition. It's not that the sunset has changed, it's that we're finally open to receiving its message. Pain and restlessness often serve this purpose. They open cracks in our defenses, allowing beauty and meaning to enter where they couldn't before. Have you ever noticed how difficult it is to stay angry or worried when we contemplate something truly beautiful in nature? It's almost as if our nervous system has been recalibrated, as if we've returned to a more natural state of being. Your restless heart may simply be asking for those moments of recalibration, those pauses that aren't really pauses, but essential reconnections with what really is. You know that feeling of expansion you sometimes get when the horizon seems wider, the possibilities broader? It's not just a figure of speech. Your body literally responds to open spaces with a change in breathing, hormones, and brain activity. We are programmed to benefit from exposure to natural landscapes, especially those that allow us to see far into the distance. Your restless heart may be asking for this kind of expansion when you spend too much time indoors under artificial lights. Beauty has a purpose beyond aesthetic appreciation. It calls us out of ourselves, reminds us that we are part of something bigger and more lasting than our momentary concerns. When you feel that almost painful twinge at the sight of a particularly beautiful sunset, it's not just emotion, it's recognition. Something in you recognizes something in the world as if they were made of the same substance. And indeed they are. Your consciousness and the beauty you contemplate are expressions of the same fundamental reality. Ancient cultures created ceremonies and rituals to mark important moments in the day, such as sunrise and sunset. It wasn't mere superstition, but recognition that these moments of transition have power, affect our psyche, and deserve our attention. Even without formal ceremonies, you can honor these moments in your own way. Your restless heart may be asking for small personal rituals that mark time in a more meaningful way than just following a calendar of appointments. There is a difference between being alone and feeling lonely. Nature teaches us that it is possible to be completely alone and yet deeply connected. When you watch a sunset, even if there is no one else around, you are participating in an experience shared by millions of people throughout human history. Your restless heart may be asking for this kind of connected solitude, rather than the disconnection that can happen even when we're surrounded by people. It's interesting how we often use the expression "back to nature," as if nature were a place separate from us, a tourist destination that we visit occasionally. But there is no such separation. We are nature just as much as the trees, the birds, the wind on our faces. When your heart gets restless in the midst of artificial environments, perhaps it's not asking you to visit nature, but to recognize the nature you already are, which has never ceased to be, despite all the layers of civilization. A sunset doesn't have to be watched for hours to have an effect. Sometimes a single moment of mindfulness can be enough to restore something in us that was out of balance. It's not a question of quantity of time, but quality of presence. Your restless heart isn't necessarily asking for big changes in your routine, but small moments of true awareness, distributed throughout the day like seeds that, over time, germinate into a more integrated and present life. Have you ever noticed how sometimes you only realize you were tense when you finally relax? We live in a constant state of alertness that we accept as normal, until something like contemplating a sunset allows us to let go of what we've been holding on to. Your restless heart may simply be asking for those moments of release, those deep sighs that allow the accumulated tension to dissipate before it becomes so familiar that you don't even notice it anymore. The sun that sets today will rise tomorrow. This simple certainty carries with it a powerful promise. Cycles continue, opportunities are renewed. Your restless heart may be reminding you of this essential truth when everything seems too permanent, both the challenges and the joys. As the setting sun teaches us every day, nothing lasts forever, not even the darkness that follows the departing light. This is a truth that heals when we remember to apply it to our own moments of transition. Nature is never in a hurry, but it never stops either. It moves at its own pace, confident that everything will happen at the right time. How much anxiety could we avoid if we learned this lesson? Her restless heart may be asking for more trust in the natural unfolding of things, less forced control, more fluidity. It's not about abandoning responsibilities, but finding a balance between doing and allowing things to happen. There's a difference between looking and really seeing. How many times have you looked at a sunset while thinking about something else? The beauty was there, but you didn't fully take it in. Your restless heart may be asking for more moments of clear vision, of total presence, where you don't just register what you're seeing, but let it touch you, change you, even if subtly. It's a different kind of nourishment, as essential as food and water. The darkness that comes after sunset is not an end, but an invitation to a different kind of experience. Sounds become more important, other senses are sharpened, different creatures awaken. In the same way, the darkest periods of life are not just moments to be endured until the light returns. They have their own gifts, their own lessons, their own particular beauty. Your restless heart is perhaps asking for more acceptance of the natural cycles of light and dark in your own life. Have you ever noticed how certain songs seem to perfectly capture the feeling of a sunset? How certain perfumes bring back memories with surprising clarity. Our senses are bridges to deeper experiences, connections that go beyond rational thought. Your restless heart may be asking for more of these rich sensory experiences, more moments when you are fully present through all your senses, not just sight or thought. There is wisdom in accepting impermanence. The sunset is beautiful precisely because we know that it is temporary, that we can never fully capture it. We try with photos and videos, but the real experience always escapes our grasp. Your restless heart is perhaps asking for more acceptance of the constant flow of life, less attempts to freeze moments or cling to what will inevitably change. There is a deep peace in this acceptance that no amount of control can provide. The ancients told stories about the sun, myths, legends, explanations for its apparent movements. They weren't just entertainment, but ways of connecting the human experience to something greater, of finding meaning in natural cycles. Your restless heart may be asking for more meaningful narratives in your life, stories that connect your personal challenges to wider truths, that find meaning even in difficulties, like a sunset finds beauty at the end of the day. Stillness is not just the absence of sound, but a kind of presence. When you are completely still, internally and externally, something changes in the way you perceive the world. Details that would normally go unnoticed suddenly become visible, subtle connections reveal themselves, time seems to expand. Your restless heart may be asking for more of these moments of attentive stillness, where you are neither asleep nor busy, but simply present, like a tree that both receives and gives to its surroundings. The same sunset is seen by millions of people, each from their own unique perspective. There is no right way to experience it. Each view contributes to the totality of human experience. Likewise, your unique way of being in the world is not something to be corrected, but a valuable perspective to be honored. Your restless heart may be asking for more authenticity, fewer attempts to fit into molds that weren't made for you, more courage to offer your particular vision to the great conversation of life. The water in a lake reflects the sky above, but it also has its own depth, its own vibrant ecosystem beneath the surface. As human beings, we have this same dual nature. We are capable of reflecting the world around us, and we also have a rich and complex inner life. Your restless heart may be asking for more balance between these two aspects. Neither so absorbed by the outside world that you lose touch with your inner depth, nor so focused on yourself that you forget your connection to everything else. If you put your hand in a stream, you feel the water pass between your fingers, but the stream continues on its way undisturbed. That's the nature of the present, always flowing, impossible to hold back, best experienced with a light, attentive touch. Your restless heart is perhaps asking for more of this lightness of touch in relation to the present moment, fewer attempts to control what naturally flows, more trust in the current that, despite all the stones in the way, always finds the sea. Trees don't fight the wind, they bend, adapt, let it pass through their branches, and so survive the strongest storms. There is a profound lesson in this resilient flexibility. Your restless heart may be asking for more of this natural adaptability, less rigidity in the face of life's inevitable changes and challenges. It's not weakness, but real strength, the same strength that allows a willow tree to survive where a rigid oak could break. There is a specific moment right at the end of sunset, known as the blue hour, when the light has a particular quality, neither day nor night, but something in between. It's a liminal moment, a transitional space. Your life also has these liminal spaces, moments between one chapter and another, when the old is ending but the new has not yet taken shape. Your restless heart may be especially active in these periods, not because anything is wrong, but because something new is trying to be born and needs your recognition and consent. Think of the many human generations that have watched the same sunset. Different cultures, different beliefs, different concerns, but the same sun, the same cycle of light and dark, the same beauty shared across the millennia. When you watch a sunset, you are participating in one of humanity's most enduring and universal experiences. Your restless heart finds peace in this continuity, this belonging to something that transcends your individual life and extends backwards and forwards in time. Sunlight travels millions of kilometers before it touches your face. The elements that make up your body were forged in the heart of stars billions of years ago. Every breath you take contains molecules that have passed through the lungs of countless beings throughout Earth's history. At this very moment, you are participating in a cosmic exchange of matter and energy so vast that it defies comprehension. Your restless heart will perhaps calm down when you remember this profound interconnection that no amount of loneliness or apparent separation can really break. A single ray of sunshine breaking through a cloud after a rainy day can completely change the mood of a landscape. In the same way, a single moment of true presence can transform a difficult day, a single authentic connection can heal an old wound, a single insight can illuminate a path that once seemed dark. Your restless heart may be asking for this openness to small everyday miracles, this willingness to be touched and transformed by the unexpected, the apparently simple. When the first stars appear after sunset, they're not new, they've been there all along, just invisible in the daylight. Many of the answers you seek are already present in you, just waiting for the right moment to become visible. Your restless heart is not just a sign of lack or want, but also an indicator of inner richness that has not yet been fully recognized, of possibilities that are waiting for certain certainties to darken before they can shine. There is a Japanese tradition called Shinrin-yoku, or forest bathing, simply spending time among trees, absorbing the atmosphere through all your senses. It's not a purposeful walk or a structured activity, just receptive presence. Studies show that this practice reduces cortisol, lowers blood pressure, improves concentration and mood. Your restless heart may be asking for more of this natural medicine, this rebalancing that happens naturally when we allow ourselves to be part of the living world, rather than just observers or consumers of it. There is a difference between contemplating nature as a separate object and experiencing it as a living presence of which we are a part. The sunset is not a spectacle staged for our enjoyment, but a living process in which we participate whether we like it or not. Every cell in your body responds to the changing light, to the rhythms of day and night. Your restless heart may be asking for more of this conscious participation in life's processes, less artificial separation between you and the world you inhabit. As night falls, diurnal animals retreat and nocturnal creatures awaken. There is a continuity in life, a natural relay where different beings take on different roles as conditions change. In your own life, perhaps it's time to allow certain aspects to rest while others, long dormant, are finally allowed to awaken. Your restless heart may be whispering about unused talents, forgotten passions, parts of you that are waiting in the shadows for permission to manifest. There is a phenomenon called the green ray, a brief flash of green that can sometimes be seen at the exact moment the sun disappears below the horizon. It's rare, difficult to capture, but those who witness it speak of its extraordinary beauty. Life's most precious moments are like that, impossible to plan or control, unexpected visitors who arrive only when we are truly present and attentive. Your restless heart may be asking for more of that patient attention that allows small miracles to reveal themselves in their own time. Traditional cultures around the world had ways of honoring natural cycles, celebrations of solstices and equinoxes, rituals to mark the changing of the seasons. These were not just empty traditions, but ways of synchronizing human life with the larger rhythms of the natural world. Your restless heart is perhaps asking for modern ways of doing the same, not necessarily through formal rituals, but through a renewed awareness of the cycles that still operate in your life, even if they are often ignored. Sunset teaches us about the beauty of completion, of proper closure. It's not abrupt or hesitant. It has its own perfect rhythm, its own time. In the same way, there is a time to conclude certain chapters in our lives, to allow some things to finish completely so that others can begin. Your restless heart may be asking for this kind of honest conclusion in some area of your life, not a premature abandonment, nor an artificial prolongation, but a recognition of the natural time for change. There is an ancient tradition in many cultures of taking a moment of pause and gratitude at sunset, an acknowledgement of the day that has passed, a preparation for the evening to come. It's a time to integrate experiences, to let go of what no longer serves, to welcome well-deserved rest. Your restless heart may be asking for more of these moments of conscious transition, these thresholds where you are neither completely in what was nor in what will be, but present for the change itself, for the process of transformation itself. And so, as the last ray of sunshine disappears over the horizon and the first stars begin to dot the sky, remember, what the sunset is whispering to your restless heart is not a complicated secret or an unattainable truth. It's a simple reminder that you belong in this world, that your life is part of a larger pattern, beautiful in its complexity and perfect in its natural unfolding. Your heart knows this. It always has. And every restlessness is just a gentle tap on your shoulder, reminding you of what, on some level, you've never really forgotten. That you're at home here, part of the same light that illuminates the clouds on the horizon and the same shadows that advance with the night. There is nothing to seek that isn't already there, nothing to conquer other than simply recognizing this fundamental truth. The sunset whispers, and in its silence after its message, we finally find the answer that has always been there.